Hello and welcome back to Mayfair Prestige. I'm gonna watch some videos and I'm gonna react to them. Let's see what they got lined up for me now. Oh, I know what this is already by the noise. Anyone knows me, but if you know me, I believe in Porsche. I love Porsche. I live, I eat, I breathe Porsche. Best cars ever made. Sports cars, supercars, ever made a Porsche. I think I'm gonna enjoy this. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is the GT3 RS.
Oh, I like this car.
The yardstick.
Holy moly, I like this car.
Are judged. But if you look at the numbers, this thing might not be all it's cracked up to be. Its 4-litre flat six only makes 525 horsepower. It's 0 to 62 time.
Funny enough, when you talk about horsepower, around 500, 600 is actually the optimum horsepower. When you start taking cars into the 800s, you know, you're never going to get to the limit of the car. Really, when you're talking about 500, 600, like the Speciale, everyone knows I was a big fan. I'm not a Ferrari fanboy, but the Speciale was perfect because they got the horsepower perfect, which means you can get to the limit of the car and enjoy it at the limit. When you start getting into like the 800-900 horsepower, it's very difficult to get to the limits because as a normal driver, we're not racing drivers. I'm not Carlos Sainz Jr. I'm an okay driver, but you can't get to the limits. And that's the problem sometimes when you're dealing in really, really heavy horsepower cars. And that's why something around 500 like this one, what they're saying, means you could probably enjoy this a lot more and push those revs right up to the 9 on the gears because, you know, it's not running away with you as such. So anyway, I'll carry on.
A mere 3.2 seconds. And it doesn't even do 200
Trust me, I know Porsches will be quicker than 3.2 seconds. They always do that.
an hour. So if you're thinking this might be overrated, well, you'd be wrong because there's much more to this car than just the numbers. The devil is in the detail. The last pieces of the aerodynamic puzzle are the diffuser and an active rear wing, so enormous it sits higher than the roofline of the car. As a result of all this aerodynamic trickery, the GT3 RS generates a total of 860 kilograms of downforce.
Well, I'm going to stop here. I love the car. It's got DRS, which is pretty useless on a road car. I'm going to say something really controversial. I've been meaning to get this out of my system for a while. Downforce is a myth. It doesn't exist. People out there, it don't exist. There's no such thing as downforce. Do not believe it. Aero on a car does not exist. It's a myth.
And people are going to say, no, it's not. It's designed in a factory.
Yes, it exists. Find out what the minimum speed you would need to be doing in a car with downforce before the downforce kicks in. I guarantee you that you would have to be driving, in my opinion, in excess of 120 or 130 miles an hour before the downforce kicks in. How many times do you reach that speed? Even if, let's say, you're on a racetrack does have bends. It may have one straight or two straights. So you're going to get up to 120, 130, 140 for how many seconds? And then, yes, the downforce will kick in. But most downforce, funny enough, doesn't kick in at speeds where we do on the road generally. People driving on the road are never going to feel downforce in any car they've ever bought with downforce because you're never going to reach the speed that that car requires for the aero to work. So please, I understand when people watch these videos and they start getting carried away.
It's got 800 feet of downforce. It's like an elephant sitting on the roof.
You got to be doing 130 miles an hour for that to work. Where are you going to drive at 130 miles an hour? You won't have a license. The police will take it away from you and you won't drive any further. And there's no downforce in a London taxi cab. Stop with downforce. What's better, funny enough, is a heavy car with a good engine, like a Bugatti. Bugatti weighs about 2.5 tons. It hunkers on the road under its own weight with an engine big enough to send this car to the stratosphere of speed. Yes, this Porsche is great and I love a Porsche, but let's not get carried away with aero and downforce. The car looks great. Porsche have gone mental like they do. I think they think it might be the last hurrah for the RS because they may go electric after this. Who knows? So this might be them all out And that's why they've done the DRS and the little flaps and a little bit here and a little bit there and this and that. Look, it looks great and it's going to sell great and it's going to be great. And if you're lucky enough to buy one, you're very lucky because it's going to be worth over its list price. But don't get carried away. Anyway, sorry, I've had my rant.
177 miles an hour. And that can only mean one thing. Grip. Loads and loads of grip. If you've ever wondered what it's like to drive a car with downforce, it's basically having the ability to throw it into corners and frankly...
This is mechanical downforce he's talking about. This is not aero downforce. He's not at the speed to reach it. Porsches have always had very good mechanical grip because of the way the car's set up. Yes, I know the engine's in the back, but it does have. Porsches over the years have always handled really well. And yes, agreed, there is some element of downforce to the aero, but it's not enough what he's talking about. Anyway.
Stupid speeds, and it just lives with it. 860 kilograms at 177 miles an hour. I mean,
he just said it, 177 miles. Where are you going to go 177 miles an hour? And even if you reach that speed, how long are you going to be going that for? 4 seconds, 5 seconds? If you're driving down a road at 177 miles an hour for 1 minute, how much road do you need? How long has that road got to be? So come on. I mean, even he's talking nonsense.
Come on, man.
more than a McLaren Senna makes. It's as much as a fully grown giraffe.
They love this. Giraffe, elephant, hippopotamus.
Stop with the animals on top of the car. They're not animals. It's a car. We're not in the zoo.
No animal. You're not going to sit an animal on your car and drive, are you? I know they're trying to use it as like the analogy, but I don't want an analogy of an animal on top of my car that I just paid good money for.
At McDonald's today, the old office, luckily there aren't any corners where you have to go quite that fast, but even at 125 miles an hour, it still makes well over 400 kilograms. What's that?
So you have to be doing 125 miles an hour for 400 kilograms. Tell me on a UK road, please. I mean, he's on a track, but on a UK road, where can you go 125 miles an hour?
Wait a minute.
Even if you're on the motorway, yes, technically you could go 125 miles an hour. How long for, and is it really worth it? But I mean, nonsense. This is a road car. I know it's a track road car, but it is sold with number plates and indicators.
275s instead of 255s.
It's a road car.
And 335s instead of 315s at the rear. So
I do like it. I would buy one.
Low speed corners.
And it's got a Wiseac package with magnesium alloys, but don't curb them, you can't get them fixed.
The other advantage is that because it's an active wing, it serves as a drag reduction system.
Here we go, DRS, you see?
Ordinarily it works automatically.
And it's all you need in your road car, DRS. You can go down Park Lane and open your DRS. I mean, that's what people are going to do, let's face it. People are going to go down Park Lane towards Mayfair and Knightsbridge with their DRS open.
DRS. You can see it open in your wing mirrors. And
Now Rory Reid thinks he's Max Verstappen. Rory Verstappen. Verstappen Reid. I don't know. This is going to turn a whole new generation of motor drivers into racing drivers with DRS. They're going to sit there, press the button on the wheel and open their DRS.
Add a useful amount of speed. Feel like an F1 driver.
There you go, feel like an F1 driver. What a donut.
It helps you remove speed as well. It comes with steel brakes as standard, but for £6,500 extra, you can get carbon ceramics, 410 minutes.
That's another thing as well. Did you know, funny enough, steel brakes for road cars are actually more than adequate. This whole fascination with carbon ceramic brakes is a fascination built on people watching too much Jeremy Clarkson Top Gear nonsense. And they got like this idea, carbon ceramics. Actually, carbon ceramics are good if you're going to do multiple laps around the track and you don't get overheated brakes and get what's called brake fade. But on a road where you don't actually need them, because I've actually been in cars where the carbon ceramics are cold and you don't get much braking. So technically on a road, steel braking is actually good. But you buy one of these GT3 with steel brakes and you find out what the difference between a resale price of a steel brake car and the resale price of a carbon fiber car is. So when the Porsche tell you that the carbon ceramic brakes are £6,500, you tick that box. Otherwise you're going to lose so much money on the car. I mean, not lose, but it's not going to be worth over list what the other cars will be worth over list. So when you're lucky enough to buy this car with the DRS and your Max Verstappen, tick the box with the carbon ceramics, because in the long run you'll make more money. And the Wiseac box, must tick that.
Up front, 380s at the rear, so you can do this. I mean, come on. Because of the downforce.
Oh, he's gone again.
Carbon ceramic brakes.
How can you have downforce while braking? He just said the downforce kicks in 177 miles an hour, 125 miles an hour. Now he's talking about downforce while he's pressing the brake pedal. What's going on?
That's nuts.
Porsches make such good noise. The noise is so amazing.
Standard GT3.
What an exhaust note. Best exhaust note.
Front track play a huge part here, helping it change direction with race car aggression. The extra grip afforded by the larger tyre contact patch means understeer is well contained, and oversteer, when you want it, is predictable and controllable. The extra grip does not sacrifice fun in the slightest. You know a car's got incredible handling when, 5-6 minutes into the review, and I still haven't talked about the engine. It uses the same 4-litre flat six as you find in the standard GT3, but they've fiddled around with the cams, so now it makes 15 horsepower extra. A little bit less torque than before, but those aren't the important numbers. The most important number is 9,000 RPM.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about naturally aspirated engines, which you lose in these turbocharged engines. At least with that, you get that real high rev. And if you've ever driven a Porsche, you'll know that everything happens between about 7,000 and 9,000. That's when all the fun starts. All the good stuff happens at the top end of the range in Porsches. So really, when you're driving a Porsche that isn't turbocharged, what you want is to be really revving those gears out. And of course, it's got the greatest gearbox in the world, the PDK gearbox. So that's another reason to buy the car.
This thing flies higher than pretty much any other engine that I've experienced. It makes all its power up at 8,500 RPM. Oh, and that sound. In track mode, the GT3 RS lets you adjust the rebound and compression damping of the suspension front and rear, so you can choose the ride characteristics of each axle individually to match the characteristics of the race track.
Porsche gone nuts.
If you have brand new tyres and a smooth
given you
track,
so much
might
options. I think it's too much.
Or if you have a bumpy
What
track,
was wrong with
or
Sport
you wanna
Plus
ride the curbs with
and
a bit more
Sport?
aggression, you can dial in more softness. There's also a switch that lets you adjust the differential. So if the back end starts to get a little bit squirmy under braking, you can add some diff on coast. If your tyres have gone off, for example, and you find the back end moving on you when you're accelerating out.
Porsche really gone a bit OTT on a road car with all these setting changes, but it's going to be great. I'm going to love it. I'm going to sit there playing with all the settings and driving down Knightsbridge and Mayfair and roads like that, because where else are you going to go in one? And it's going to be great, and I'm going to think I'm, Lewis Hamilton, so yeah.
You can tighten up the diff just to make it feel exactly like you want it to feel. And you can do that corner by corner.
Oh, the noise is so incredible.
Like
Exhaust note in a Porsche is the best.
Very, very complicated.
Proper mechanical engine noise, not that, fake exhaust pop sound.
Of course, it's not all about downforce or mechanical grip. If you want to get playful, luckily the GT3 RS lets you do that as well. Chuck it into Chicago on the power. The GT3 RS feels like a landmark moment, a significant milestone in sports car evolution. It proves that outright power.
Okay, I watched this video. I want this car. Porsche ain't gonna sell me one. I got no chance. I got zero hope in hell of buying one of these cars from Porsche, but I still will buy one, because somebody out there will buy one, and somebody out there is gonna want the extra money that I'm gonna pay them for the car.
I'm rich!
So as much as Porsche out there don't want to sell me the car, you know what, Porsche? F you. I'm still going to buy one. Why? Because I got the money to pay over the asking price. I'm still going to have one, and I will pay. And unfortunately, it will happen. So just sell me a car. It just saves the headache. Stop messing around. I hope you like the video. We want to do like a few of these. Why don't you guys email me videos that you want me to react to? I'll put the videos on. I'll watch them. You'll get my natural, proper reaction. See you next time. Like and subscribe.